It's 3 minutes past the hour. I'm going to go ahead and get started because we are going to have probably a little bit of a busy meeting. Could I start out by getting a designated note taker for today?
Happy to volunteer.
I would appreciate that very much.
Okay.
Are there any new faces today or anyone who would like to introduce themselves? Nope. Okay. Let's hop right into the large agenda item for today, which is, of course, going over the roadmap. With the two RFCs that are currently open right now, we kind of have some quantum roadmap items because the issues for them haven't been generated yet. But let's talk about what we have right now, and then I guess we can talk about those when we get into outstanding RFCs. First things first, let's start with status needs investigation. Create static Jamie build pack list builders. If I recall correctly, last month we were waffling about whether or not this was even important anymore. And then 48 hours after we had that meeting, we had someone contact us saying that it was very important to them and that we should create this builder. So we spun all of that up and it exists now. You can create static images using Rust, I believe, reliably. I think that there's probably ways to do it with Go, although we have not done a full deep dive investigation with it yet. So I'm going to put this in the done column because I think it's done. Next up, we have default behavior for Buildpacks set language environment. Oh my goodness, sorry. Behavior for Buildpacks set language ecosystem environment variables. That is a mouthful. I apologize. I think that this is just a case of us needing to go back through. I honestly just need to put a message on here pinging basically every maintainer group, or probably more accurately .NET, Yarn, .NET and Node.js and Ruby, and ask for these to be checked. I think that some of these have changed. I know that .NET has, and I should probably go through and just investigate this. But I think this is just a case of us trying to close the last two out. And then this will be done. I'll take that on as an action item right after this meeting to go through and ping relevant parties. Next up, we have distribute Buildpacks via Docker Hub. Oh, okay. Once again, this is done. It's a matter of documentation at this point. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess this is a call out for all maintainers that are currently in this meeting. I would love if you could go and check this out, although it might make more sense to open some high level issues in the various Buildpack language families as well as the website. So I can take that on to do as well. Okay. We have support for Yarnberry. I think that this has just been slow going based on sort of demand. Tim, do you have any updates for this?
No. I'm still working on that. Yeah.
This is
That
the most
issue
recent
there.
one in progress.
Yeah, I've pushed up some commits in recently if folks want to check that out, but there's not much more than that to report.
Slow going process.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. And then finally, we have the last 5 here that are planned. We can just go over each one of these quickly and talk about them. I assume if they're planned and anyone works on them, we'll move them to in progress. So I'll just see if anyone has done any more work on these. And if not, then we can move on. Reloadable process types. Looks like Ruby is the last outstanding one to get done. Is there any progress on that? Nope. Okay. I assume once there's actual progress on this, this will go very quickly from planned to done. So yeah, it'd be great to be able to see that get done sooner rather than later. Next we have remote debug. This is sort of just a language by language basis, and I don't think that there's currently any open progress to add debug support to any of these given languages. On that, auto-generated reference documentation. I think Ryan, before going on parental leave, sort of laid out the first example for what adding configurations excuse me, hold on, environment variable configurations in, I think, npm install. Tim, if that
Yeah.
is correct, what that would look like for packet supported or packet build packs. So I would encourage people to go take a look at the structure set up there and see what could be done. Define an image dependency retention policy. I pinged Dan about this last time. I'll ping him again about it. This is waiting on an actual sort of comprehensive, I guess, assay of our image repositories to be done. And then finally, we have create language family builders. I believe that this was motivated around to getting some Java runtime specific builders. Are there any updates on that? Oh, wait. And I think that we have wrapped around and we are at the end of the roadmap. Is there anything that people want to talk about or call out here?
I was just wondering, like, for the work related to the UBI build packs, I know the RFC landed.
Yes, I don't believe that a set of issues have been spun up around that. That is a good call out. Does Ozzy, would you be willing to write up some issues in the RFC's repository for that work? Or if not, I can take a crack at it, but I'm not sure that I have the best layout of what the work that actually needs to be done.
Yeah, I can have a quick look if I can figure it out from what ones are there before. If not, I'll ping you on Slack and figure out what needs to go in. But yeah, mostly at this point, we're just looking at pulling PRs in from stuff we've already got, I think.
Yeah, that sounds great. Anything else that people wanted to call out? All righty. Then let's get into the normal outstanding RFC review. There are 3 RFCs here. Start at the bottom and work our way to the top. This is a proposal to remove YJ from the binary stack, or binary from the stacks, excuse me. I see that there was a comment from you, Rob, yesterday. Anything else to talk about in regards to this?
No, I'm pretty sure I was responding to you first. So I think Sophie put a question to a community member just at the top of your screen. Someone did mention they were using, or they mentioned in passing they were using YJ because it wasn't working for them. So it might be prudent to wait a little bit of time just to give that community member an opportunity to respond. But if they don't, I think we can just move forward with the RFC, assuming there's no other objections. I think we are still collectively coming to a consensus on whether it makes sense to remove it or just like do the extra work to support it on all stacks. But I think all architectures, sorry, I should say. But I think it makes sense to remove it. Like none of the Paketo build packs use it. Maybe a community build pack like a build plan or something might use it, but like I think we should just put it where it's used rather than build it in the stacks.
Okay. I don't want to put too much of a twist on this. Would it potentially make sense for us to have some sort of utility that was just YJ, kind of like cover our bases?
I
Awesome.
mean, it's easy for me to say yes because I'm not the one that has to maintain such a build pack, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think maybe less facetiously, if you want to propose that, sure, but it probably would be worth like spinning that into a separate RFC because the utilities maintainers would likely be the ones that would maintain that, and they are not the same as the stacks maintainers.
I think that's fair. I also don't know how hard it would be to maintain that in a sane way. I might take a look at proposing that. Just at that point, it kind of covers all of our bases because we have something that's compatible going forward.
Yeah, you could probably do it with an extension.
Oh, probably
If it's
could
only
actually.
needed, it's only needed for build time, which I'd suspect it'd be. Then, yeah, you can have it actually modify the build image and do apt get install whatever to put it there if you want.
Oh yeah, that's actually, I hadn't even thought about doing an extension. I think that I don't know that it's an apt. YJ is an apt gettable binary, but I mean, I assume we can install any binaries through an extension as long as it can be built out through a Docker file. That's a good call. I hadn't even thought about that. All right. In that case, then, if we do want some feedback from that community member, I don't actually know the best. I don't know the best GitHub courtesy if it is just to at them and say, "Hey, we saw that you had a problem with this. Could you take a look?"
I mean, literally Sophie did that like last week. I think it's fine to wait like another week just to be courteous, and then if they're not responding, that's fine, right? They're obviously not. It's not a pain point for them.
I can't read. We're all good. All right. In that case, then I'll move on from this. Next up, we have decoupled dependencies from Buildpacks. This is my behemoth RFC. There is a lot of discussion happening on this that I'm trying to stay on top of, but it is kind of hard. I have to cycle through here a lot and try and pick things up. So I'm trying to stay on top of it. And if I have not gotten back to your discussion question yet, I'm trying to, I promise. Is there anything that people would like to call out in this meeting about this RFC? I guess now that people have had a chance to read it.
I had a quick question. Apologies if you've said this before. I saw that you also put up an exploration in a separate repository. I was wondering if that exploration is like functional, something that we could play around with, because this RFC is like really, it has a lot of information. It's kind of hard for me to conceptualize. So I'd love to be able to like play around with something. And I was just wondering like what the state of that exploration is.
Yeah, so this exploration, or the exploration that I did, was mainly to prove out the actual functionality of each of these proposed methods as dependency assets. This one, to prove out at least these three methods of actually sort of like injecting the metadata and making sure that it could practically be done. And so, yeah, there's some variations of showing like externally mounting this data, doing it via a build pack and doing it via a stack extension in a builder. And that's really the section that it tackles, is just sort of trying to ensure that the actual practical application of this is sound. But yeah, all of these are they work. The only one that I would call out is if you do want to play with the stack extension via Builder, it uses a build environment spec that is only in platform API, only available to platform API versions 0.11 and up. And the pack, as of when I was doing this, pack 0.29 was the latest one that's out. And that platform version wasn't supported by that. I don't think that there's a new version of pack out, but they do have a pre-release out. So you would have to use that in order to fully experience this particular method.
Cool, thanks, Forrest.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, just a comment. Like I need some more time to wrap my head around this. But I had one run through with some comments already, but I'll really have to wrap my head around this and spend some thoughts on it. So hope to get some time this week.
It's, fortunately for you, it's not going anywhere right away. So I think you'll have plenty of time.
I suppose so.
All right. In that case, then I will move on to the final RFC that we have open for today, and this is by Jericho. This is the multi-architectural build pack builds RFC that you mentioned that you were going to be opening. Is it good read?
Yeah, I had a question actually about this. So there's a lot of good discussion. And then I assume at some point, once all the discussion is over, we'll kind of take the key takeaways and like put them into this text. So it's like official before it gets committed. Okay, cool. And is that something that I'm going to be doing, or will other people commit to this branch? Like, how does that usually work?
Usually it's the RFC author who will add stuff.
Cool. Okay, sounds good. The other thing is I have a repo that I created to kind of like play around with multi-arch builders. I plan to do some of this with the build pack, so we can kind of like have some concrete examples rather than kind of like live in the world of theory. So whenever I do that kind of stuff, I think probably makes sense to put it in a comment, right? Not just like fill the text of the RFC with like my notes. What are your thoughts there?
Comment would be fine. If you have a repository where you're doing exploration that you'd be willing to basically just sort of append as prior art at the end of this, that would also be totally fine as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, either works perfectly fine.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know if that has been mentioned, but I remember that you had some questions about how to build for ARM64. And actually, Forrest, you told us recently that we had some usage of BuildJet already authorized in the Paketo Buildpack organization. Actually, I already tried that out, and yes, we do provide ARM64 builders. So maybe this is something worth mentioning. Basically, we have some credits every month for free that we could use with BuildJet towards ARM64 builders. So that could help, I guess.
Yeah. Are there any other questions about this RFC?
Yeah, I have a good question. It's just some kind of well, no, just to make sure, because I can't remember. So basically, the idea of this RFC is to publish most build packs into different arch. To do that, there are some tools that exist, such as Docker Manifest, and I think it's mentioned in this RFC. I was just wondering if people could still just opt out and just still only download the arch that they require. Okay, yeah, I'm just thinking out loud because I think I remember that normally any Docker CLI, well, any Docker daemon, anyways, any Docker compatible daemon will actually just fetch the layers for the arch that it wants, right? If it's available. So I think it's not a concern, but I just wanted to validate with you that it's not going to put a burden on performance with regard to huge downloads. Is it going to double the download sizes, or is all the tooling smart enough to just download the things? I mean, just the layers that matches its arch. I don't know if I'm clear. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking out loud. I didn't prepare that question.
Jericho, you're muted.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought I clicked the button. It does just download the layers for your specific architecture. So it shouldn't, I mean, you're going to have 2 copies of everything in the registry,
Yes.
but you won't necessarily have tags to pull both versions. You'll just pull from the one tagged version that's like multi-arch, unless you guys decide to publish the tag, the arch specific version as a tag too. But yeah, it should be completely transparent to users, and it shouldn't put really shouldn't change anything, except for you're going to have 2 copies, one for whatever architecture.
Yes. Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Are there any other questions?
I had one other comment, which I didn't really put in the RFC because I don't think it's in scope for this, but I just kind of wanted to mention it, which is that we've here in this RFC, we talk about using the Docker Buildpacks like extension to basically create a multi-arch manifest. So another thing that you may consider, Jericho, or anyone, right, may consider opening an RFC on the pack tool to extend its publish, because Pack has built-in support for publishing directly. Like you can do, like when you create a build pack, you can publish it. So it may be worth considering like rolling up the like multi-arch manifest tooling into Pack itself, so we don't need to like rely on Docker and its extensions. But I don't think that needs to be done in this RFC, so I don't really want to put it in here, but I just wanted to mention it.
Have you checked if it's not already considered in the in Buildpacks project?
I can comment on that. So there is a project to add this some version of support for multi-arch, but it's not making it into the pack pack create or builder create versions of the commands yet. And I think it's because they don't quite understand what the community is going to want, like what flags do they want to pass in. So right now they're just going to doing a general, I want to have some manifest support, and that's the approach. And then I have a feeling that once this gets implemented, I think Paketo will probably have a lot of feedback to give. It will help drive that. But yeah, it's kind of like on the horizon, but I'm not sure there's anything concrete yet. Okay, cool. I did have one comment that I was going to say. I put it in the RFC about kind of not necessarily fully relying on the platform 13, like the new platform API changes and having backward compatibility, because let's just say somebody like set up CI and pin their version of Pack to a certain version in the life cycle, and then they're just pulling new versions of Paketo Buildpacks. If those like Paketo Buildpacks are relying on new builders and new platforms, I think that it could cause an issue. So like whatever changes get made to kind of support these environment variables for architecture and OS, there should be a fallback just in case somebody's using an old version to consume the Buildpacks. I don't know if that was clear, but I tried to capture it. And if there's any questions, just reach out to me.
Can you give an example about what you just described?
So in my experience, when I was working with Buildpacks, I had to use a different operating system. So I created my own builders, and I just went to the buildpacks.io site, and their example said use this lifecycle flag. So I pinned the lifecycle to a certain version. And then I believe also, like in my CI, I just downloaded a version of Pack and just walked away. So like if someone were to do that, and then these build packs are changed, they won't be backwards compatible to an old builder that was built on an old version of Pack. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like, sure, not everybody's going to keep up with Pack the way, I think I have, but they may be using them, and then, things stop working and they don't know why. So just something to keep in mind.
One other comment that just came to my mind is because the question of duplicating downloads came up. That's maybe one thing to at least keep in mind. There's some facility to actually create offline build packs. I guess that would then actually double the download size. People would do offline build packs with that support. I guess then both versions would be packaged. Just to keep in mind, I don't think it's even worth mentioning in that RFC, but there are facilities to create offline build packs that package the dependencies that will be shipped build packs. And those would then probably just package all the metadata dependencies that are listed. And those are then for multiple architectures.
Right,
Probably that's actually what you would want, right? For an air-gapped environment, you need both if you want to support both architectures.
Yeah, but there would be nothing preventing the offer of an offline build pack to actually filter just the arch that it wants to support.
I was more for completeness sake. It just came to my mind.
Yeah,
Sure. Worth mentioning here, and then.
Yeah, we may want to create in the future, a separate like RFC for Jam Pack to gain a feature to filter by some architecture operating system combination, which doesn't exist currently. However, I also think this is gonna look different based on the previous RFC about splitting out dependencies anyway. So I kind of feel like there might be many ways to solve this, but some of them are going to be invalidated if that other RFC lands first.
All right. Anything else? Okay, I think that brings us to the end of our RFCs. We can go into CMB updates and questions. I'm not sure that I have any updates beyond ones that we've had effectively for the last couple of weeks. Stack removals coming down the pipeline shortly. And I don't know if I've called it out in this meeting before, but currently there is work being done on a pack, create build pack flatten flag that would allow us to basically flatten, I believe it's meta build packs or language family build packs all into one layer as opposed to the multi-layers that they currently are. I can hunt down that issue after this and link it here.
Yeah, just from memory, the flatten can work on both build packs and builders.
Ooh.
Which may be of interest to people who care about finding one or the other.
Yeah, just for my curiosity, because maybe I missed or forgot a few things, but it would help builders that are reaching the maximum number of layers, right? Right. But not only, I mean, was that the goal for the flattened feature, or?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think that request was opened by Daniel in the discussions around now we need language family builders, which would be a question. Like if that has landed or is close to landing, do we still need?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah,
Both
exactly.
could be possible. language family specific builders?
I think that I think that the idea when we were merging that RFC is that this will have to land eventually, just based on, you know, just like practical usage. I think that what we would encourage for language family builders is maybe like very specific and tailored ideas at that point. You know, like we see a lot of people that spend time in the Java ecosystem spend basically all of their time in the Java ecosystem, or large swaths of their time in the Java ecosystem. And so having to waste a lot of time trying to update builders with, you know, a bunch of other languages, not necessarily what we want to do. I think as well, there was some talk about like trying to find ways to make completely building out custom builders more user friendly, because like in a production environment, that's probably more realistically what you would want to do, is have a builder with just like, you know, the 3 build packs that you're actually using over your entire system, and you don't need everything else, and that would make things easier to update as well. But yeah, I think there's still practical uses for language family build packs, but this makes our larger sort of general use build packs viable again.
And for what it's worth, the existing tooling isn't that bad. Like, we do build our own stack and our own builder and our own meta build packs, and are quite confident with it.
For sure.
Only thing is, we needed to stop using Jam because we don't have a Docker daemon, so we actually fell back to creating our own Docker files for stacks. But other than that, tooling seems to work quite fine.
All right. Are there any project updates? I think the only major thing to update is that there's been a bit of an initiative to try and go through and improve error handling throughout the sort of build packs. The first part of that was a series of issues that updated all of the commands that are run. So like language specific commands like npm install, builds, etc. All of those now have streaming logs, as opposed to capturing all those logs and only outputting them on fail. This morning, I went through and updated all of the sort of detects and build packs where we had a packet fail to have a packet fail with message. So hopefully when you are looking at your verbose detect logs, you will see not just that X build pack failed, but X build pack failed because it couldn't find Y dependency or Y file on the file system or whatever. So yeah. It's the only project update I have. And then finally, we have open mic questions and discussions. Is there anything that people would like to discuss? Okay. In that case, I think that's the end of this meeting. Thank you all for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.